Welcome to the Real Pros of DC. Each week we interview some of the DC metro area's top professionals and discuss topics related to this unique real estate market. I'm your host, William McCoy, and this is the Real Pros of DC. Welcome to the Real Pros of DC, where each week we interview the DC area's top real estate professionals. I'm your host, William McCoy, and we have our co-hosts Amanda and Alicia, and we have today Collene from Exclusive Interior Design. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for inviting us out.
Well, thank you for coming on our show. Please tell us how you got started in the design world.
Sure. I actually started in staging, and that was a foray into real estate just because I wanted to buy my first home in my early 20s, and I wanted the opportunity to not have someone talk over me, and so I could understand the process. And what I found out is that it's a lot harder than I thought, and I enjoyed the interaction with people, and more than the actual negotiating and transactions. I like the aesthetics of the homes.
We like those too.
Yeah. So then I created a business where I could do that. Okay. So in the meantime, I was working with builders and kind of building my experience. But then in 2009, started Exclusive Creations Design as a staging company, and it's grown into offering design and full-service real estate concierge services.
Very cool.
Do you welcome client involvement in the staging process of a home?
Not ideally in the staging process, and that's because we've seen so many homes that typically the client doesn't have input that we need in order to be able to effectively stage it. We do welcome it from realtors if they have feedback, from comments from, if the home has already been on the market. So we do welcome that, but as far as the actual staging process, it's better to kind of like leave us be and get out of the way.
How do you define your style?
So, well, with design, the style really has to reflect the client. So I don't interject my personal style in a design. With staging, however, our style is more transitional because of the area and the DC metro area, but we also tend to do more of a modern twist on transitional, clean lines with involving some color and lots of texture.
That's awesome. So where do you find your inspiration? I saw your designs. I love them. Where do you find the inspiration at?
Well, it really just depends. So for a design client, I'm usually working with something that's cherished to them, and then I'll take my inspiration from that piece. It could be a piece of clothing, it could be a piece of artwork in the home, so we'll pull colors and textures and patterns from something that they cherish and love and build a framework around that. For staging, it's really about the architecture in the home, maybe colors that are already pre-existing that kind of stand out, but we want to incorporate it in the furnishing so it doesn't look like a sore thumb.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep. What have been your biggest challenges with all of it? With the design, with the staging, or if maybe there's a specific story that you could tell us?
There's always stories, but well, I think with design, the challenge that comes up the most is just setting the expectation if someone has change orders. Okay. So you've made a decision, we're all moving forward, and then, I want to make a change, because then you have to reset the expectation, and it impacts several other things which clients may not understand. So we try to talk them through, if you do this change, this is the impact. You still want to move forward with that. So it's really just kind of managing the expectation throughout the process. It's challenging, but that's what the job is.
Yeah, it's part of the fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's different every single day.
Exactly.
Right?
It keeps it interesting.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So most people have a budget.
Yes.
It's not a great word, but
it exists.
But so how do you handle a budget for staging, and how do you handle a budget for interior design?
Sure. For staging, obviously someone can't do the full home. We'll pick key rooms that make the most impact to a buyer. So a key room typically would be a master bedroom, rooms on the main floor. If there is a budget constraint. Obviously, if you don't have that and our price works for you, then by all means do the whole home, because it photographs and it leaves the great impression and memorability of the individual rooms. For a design budget, that really is so wide and open, but if someone we can work within almost any budget. We have solutions for any type of budget, and what we would typically do is break it into phases so that it's in bite-sized pieces, and pick the priority rooms and kind of go from there as well.
That's great.
So let me ask, the holiday season is upon us right now.
Yes.
Do you have any specific design ideas for the holidays?
Well, people overlook Thanksgiving, which is right around the corner, but you still want to add those fall colors now. You want to bring some outdoor elements inside, and just make sure you address several rooms. It's not just the kitchen, it's not just the table. If you have family over, make sure you're doing something nice in the guest rooms for them that feels like, warm and Thanksgiving. And now you see more muted colors, so mixing those muted colors with the traditional oranges and reds that you see in the fall is key. For the holidays, do something a little fun. It doesn't have to be traditional.
Festive.
Very festive. Add colors that you wouldn't think about. It doesn't have to be red. It doesn't have to be green. You can use blues. I've done trees in purple. You can do different colored trees. So the white trees, there's red trees, different colors, and then play off of the color of the tree. It doesn't, make it fun.
That is fun.
That is fun.
Exactly.
Why is staging? A lot of people don't. I feel like staging is super important in real estate. But explain to us why, and our audience, why you feel that staging is so super important in the sale of a home, or.
It's the first impression, and you really don't get that chance after your home goes on the market. Of course, we'll come in at the last minute and try to, assist after a home's on the market. But you want to put your best foot forward. You want to do the consultation before, and then if we can be involved in the process earlier, we can help you pick the budget-friendly solutions that buyers are looking for. So it may be paint, but it may not be. We may be able to work with some things that are in the home. Sometimes people want to rip up carpet, but if you just clean it, it might work. So early involvement, and then just making sure that it is your first impression. The photographs is what lives on.
That's
so.
right. Yeah. Photographs are important, and so staging is super important in having that done. Absolutely. Collene, what makes Exclusive Creations Design the company to go with for staging? I know, but tell us.
So everybody knows. Well, we focus on the client, and I know a lot of people say that, but the business grew based on client requests and client needs. And so we are definitely focused on that and customizing. So it's not cookie cutter. And I think that's what our clients really appreciate, the listening and helping them bring their vision to fruition.
Awesome. So you're going to walk us around and show us some things around the house that you've done as far as staging, some little key things that people can do really quickly.
Yeah,
right?
So in the kitchen, we'll talk about how to not overstage that. So I put in a little bit more than what we need. And in the bathroom, we're going to just kind of showcase a simple thing that even a client can do if they're just trying to save a little bit money and they want to stage a bathroom.
Awesome. Let's go do that.
Okay, awesome.
Collene, so could you walk us through how you would stage this kitchen?
Sure, absolutely. So in this area, I kind of put more items. This is way too crowded. So you'd want to pick 1 to 2 items for most like segments. Here, you could have either just done the book, and I think that would have been adequate, or you could just do the wine setup and remove the cookbook. And then just make sure it's kind of towards the front so the light hits it when you're photographing it. And then that's all you really need to do in this little area over here.
Great, that looks great.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what you would do over here?
Sure. So we've got a lot going on over here. So again, we want to pick a few items to highlight. Again, think about how it's going to photograph. So we have our little coffee bar here. So that's probably fine, but maybe we could move the pasta out of the area and place it over here. And then we could also bring this a little bit forward so you have a little bit more depth. And then this is not really necessary in this area, or we could have moved the oil over into this section. So again, just pick a couple items for each segment. So I would create this as one. So here's 1, 2 items. Here's 1 item here. And then over here, we've got 2 things that don't need to be there. Maybe I would move this bowl over into this area. And then we could either do a smaller plant instead of this taller one. And that's all you really need for staging in a kitchen. If we had some other items, we could also put them in the open glass cabinets, something with a little bit of color, or just pure white photographs really well.
Great, that's great advice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Go right ahead.
So here we are in the master bathroom with Collene.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you did in here?
So this one's pretty simple. Again, using what we talked about before, just making sure there's like one item. Bathrooms are smaller, so one item per surface area typically works. So here we just have a soap pump in a contrasting color to the granite. We'll make sure that we have a fluffy towel that will photograph well on the handrail, and then just a plant to kind of break up the wall. Works off of the commode there. And then again, just towels lined up on each towel bar. Sometimes we'll put a hand towel on top of them. And then we just picked a color that kind of brought out some of the colors in the bathroom, which is those blue tones that are throughout the home.
That's fantastic. And I see some bath salts in the bathroom in the tub right there.
Yeah, make it all memorable for the photographs.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So Collene, tell people how to get in contact with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Exclusive Creations Design can be found at exclusivecreationsdesign.com. Our phone number is 703-370-1727. And we are also available on Facebook and on Instagram.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Pros of DC. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Real Pros of DC. Have a real estate topic you would like us to discuss? Go to www.therealprosofdc.com and submit your idea and see footage of the show. See you next time.